Welcome to day number 65 on the road to $1 million in cryptocurrency live stream. My name is Sash, and in today's video, we are going to take a look at why the markets are dipping again. We're also going to take a look at some really exciting news regarding Cardano's Alonz update. I'll be sharing you my portfolio and more. Let's jump right in. Welcome everybody to today's stream. Now, again, it has been a really long time since I've streamed, and I've started to kind of pace myself between family and other responsibilities. So how to get time? That's the honest answer. But I'm going to try and be as consistent as possible, a couple times a week at least. So let's see what we're going to say on Twitter for now. Dear at PancakeSwap, Ethereum, Bitcoin Magazine, Polygon, Solana, and Cardano. Let's see. What are we saying? The markets are dipping again. Everything is on sale. Nice. Man, we'll take a look at the markets and what happened like 2 or 3 days ago, and why everything decided to take a dump, because I think something similar is going on right now. Let's just copy the stream address and put it in there. Hashtag cryptocurrency investing money, DCA, BTC, Ethereum, Cardano, DeFi, blockchain geekards, hashtag 1 million. And let's tweet. Excellent, excellent. All right, so here we are in coin market cap, and you're looking at lots of red. You're looking at lots of red because of some interesting market manipulation that I personally think is market manipulation going on. I'll be sharing my thoughts as to why in just a sec, but Bitcoin right now is around 45,300. It actually just went up $300 in a few minutes actually. It dropped down to about 44, and then it just proceeded to go up and up and up, about $385, really fast, really quick. So we might be seeing something similar with all the other coins as well. Let's take a look here at ETH, which is now at 3250. And did we also see a dip? Yeah, we also saw a dip all the way down to 3230, and another small pump all the way up to 3290. So nothing crazy or major there. Solana as well. This one's been really bullish all week. Over the last few days, it actually pumped all the way up to $200. That was its all-time high, if I'm not mistaken. So really incredible growth there. But we saw it subsequently drop all the way down to 169 a few minutes ago. In fact, around 7 p.m. my time, it dropped back down to 169. Now it's back up to 178. So incredible movement across the markets there. Incredible movement across the markets. I think that a few coins really do stand out here. Solana being one of them, and of course the other one being, where is it? Elrond. I'm trying to find. Yeah, Elrond. Check this out, you guys. This is the other coin that, despite the global market dump, you could say, Elrond and Solana have just soared past previous all-time highs. This here went all the way up to $223. That's the highest I've seen it since April of this year. So that's insane growth. Again, very volatile, very choppy here, but over the last 7 days, as you can see, this is still pretty high compared to what we saw recently. So incredible movement across Elrond and Solana markets. So regardless, overall, you might be asking yourself, why this giant retraction? Right now we're sitting at around $2.03 trillion market cap. So we've actually dropped like $300 billion, give or take. And of course the question is why. And I believe that there's lots of market manipulation happening here right now. And of course, you might be wondering what you can do about it. Well, firstly, let's take a look at some news here. So El Salvador's Bitcoin Adoption Day, also referred to as B-Day. And of course, you've got lots of websites posting about how this is like a lesson to them. So I'll just read it out for you guys here. El Salvador's became the world's first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender today, which was 3 days ago. Now, this is pretty big, pretty huge news, and something you absolutely don't want to ignore. For a country, for an entire country to accept Bitcoin as legal tender, that's going to influence not only that country's economy, but also neighboring countries and maybe even other nations. So B-Day, as locals have dubbed it, ushers in a new era in which residents of the local country can buy breakfast or pay their taxes in Bitcoin. All businesses and banks must now accept Bitcoin in addition to the US dollar, the country's other legal currency. So El Salvador operates on the US dollar, but it's also taken the giant leap of faith to accept Bitcoin. The long-term implications of this audacious experiment remain to be seen, but critics of Nayib Bukele, El Salvador's youngest president, which is that guy right there, I probably butchered his name, I apologize, say that he's putting the country's finances at grave risk. And these are, of course, all the naysayers, right? Today's debut, of course, made it crystal clear Bitcoin's price dropped by an unexpected 17% in mid-morning, wiping out $400 billion in minutes. Although the price had hovered around just above 50,000 over the weekend, it dropped to less than 43,000 at one point before rebounding to about 46,000. Now, this is very significant, okay? And this might lend itself to politics. This might lend itself to power dynamics as well. So firstly, let's look at the US dollar. And of course, I'm no expert, so take this with a grain of salt, do your own research so that you can verify some of these ideas or claims. But lots of people would be invested in the US dollar, especially the traditionalists, let's call them the banksters, right? The people who are of old money. The US dollar has also been manipulated over the past few decades. Lots and lots of inflation has been happening. And of course, lots of pockets have been lined with dollars. In fact, lots of people have gotten rich, incredibly wealthy off of the backs of everyone else, right? Paying incredibly high taxes and of course incredibly high inflation rates over the last few decades. So with the introduction of Bitcoin, we're looking at a giant threat to the US dollar. Now, the fact that a country, a sovereign nation can actually go ahead and say, hey, we're willing to make this legal tender means that other countries will look at this and possibly want to follow suit, right? So let's actually show you guys what I mean here. And we're going to do so by looking at the Bitcoin having, let's see, what am I doing here? Bitcoin having, all right, and let's look at this chart. Hopefully this will be clear with Investopedia here. So where's the chart? Okay, this chart is pretty good. All right, so check this out. When Bitcoin launched in 2009, 2010, of course, the price was pretty low, right? And as it approaches what's referred to as a halving event, and I'll probably do a video explaining Bitcoin's halving, the rise in value, etc. over time. But as the halving event goes on, what this basically means is that the reward for Bitcoin miners gets cut in half every 4 years. When this happens, we've noticed the bull run cycles basically kick off. This affects the entire crypto market, not just Bitcoin or Bitcoin prices. So miners basically will mine. Originally, the Bitcoin block reward was 50. And then, of course, after 4 years, that dropped to 25, which means now it's harder to mine Bitcoin. The difficulty also goes up because more miners and more mining equipment is needed. But you'll notice here, historically, just based on this chart, the price of Bitcoin has continued to go up. But here's the craziest part, right? To date, we have only had 3 halving events. The first one was around 2014. The second one was 2018, or rather 2017. And then the most recent one was last year around June, if I'm not mistaken, right? And so that basically kicked off the bull run. What do you think is going to happen in the next halving event? What do you think is going to happen in the next 10 years, the next 20 years when we see 4, 5, 10 more halving events happen? What do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin? Of course, I believe it's going up in value, which means that if you have even just 1 Bitcoin, you could almost bet, based on this chart here, based on the statistics of the last 12 years, that the price is going to increase and it's going to continue to grow. Now, did the price come down between halving events? Absolutely. But they have never reverted back to the original state. They've never, ever reverted back to the original 4 years that Bitcoin was in existence, the sub $100 level, right? They've never actually gone back to that level. Most of us wish that it would, but it has not. And so here's the reality. By a country actually accepting Bitcoin as legal tender, they are saying, hey, we don't put our faith in the US dollar anymore. And by doing this publicly and publicizing it all over the internet, all over the world news, they're basically encouraging or basically calling out the US dollar in public, right? And potentially encouraging other nations to follow suit, which then means less people are going to want the US dollar, less demand for the dollar, excess supply, which means greater global inflation. And so that's something that's really, really quite serious, quite significant. So I think that the dump that happened recently was actually a sort of lesson that the whales, the institutional investors, are trying to teach El Salvador. But make no mistake, I believe that they have made an incredibly wise decision moving forward. And that's why we're also dollar cost averaging every chance that we get here. So notice, yes, the markets are fluctuating. Yes, in the short term, your value or the value of your portfolio might go up or down. But in the long term, especially if you're more Bitcoin heavy, you most likely are going to see an increase in value in your portfolio or your holdings. Okay, so that's something I'm really, really quite passionate about. I think that's something that every one of us needs to be aware of and know. Okay, so we don't know if we're going to see another bear market anytime soon. We don't know if this is going to be a super cycle between halving events, if this price is just going to continue all the way through to the next halving cycle in 2024. We don't know, right? Well, what we do know is that historically, Bitcoin has kept its price well above its previous halving cycle, right? So whatever it was valued previously, it's always kind of gone up after every halving event. So right now, the block reward is, if I'm not mistaken, 6.2 Bitcoin per block. In 2024, the halving is going to happen. That's going to reduce the block reward to 3 per block, right? And so that means more miners are going to be needed, more energy is going to be needed, more expensive equipment is going to be needed, and of course a higher hash rate. The higher the hash rate, the higher the difficulty, which makes it more difficult to get Bitcoin. If you're not already mining Bitcoin, you might want to consider doing so. If you're mining other coins like ETH, like I am, you might want to consider at some point when ETH does pump, converting that into Bitcoin or at least, diversifying your portfolio. So you're more Bitcoin heavy, at least 50%. And then you invest in other coins that you believe in as well. So that's a little bit of the market there, and what I think is happening right now. I think that lots of whales are trying to manipulate the market to scare people into not adopting this tech too soon. I also think that lots of these whales might want to potentially just increase their own holdings, cause lots of FUD in the market, and maybe potentially cause other people to dump so they can buy more. Make no mistake, Bitcoin is here to stay. I know that makes me sound like a maxi, but that's where I think it's going. I'm also going to show you guys something here that's really interesting regarding Cardano, right? So this is Charles Hoskinson, in case you don't know who he is. He is the founder of the Cardano network. He's also an OG cryptocurrency participant, contributor, investor. He basically was around when Bitcoin first started, and he was one of the early miners, the early investors, and of course, as you can imagine, it's put him in an incredibly well-off position to contribute to this whole cryptocurrency space. So very, very, very cool guy. I'm personally quite excited about this new update that's coming on Sunday. So it's called Alonzo. This is basically where Cardano moves from its testnet onto its mainnet. And so if you're somebody who's invested in the ADA, which is the Cardano coin, aka ADA, we might potentially see a pump in value there. Potentially, we don't know for sure, that being the key word there. But here's the other thing, we're also going to be seeing lots and lots of other projects launching soon, especially within this ecosystem, the Cardano ecosystem. And so if you are somebody who's speculative on some of those projects like Sunday Swap, that might be the day, this Sunday, when those projects go live and when you could potentially get in. And of course, the only way to get in is if you hold ADA, right? So you might want to consider getting yourself some ADA, getting a wallet that can hold your ADA, and then of course participating in those projects or in those purchases. So I'll be sure to post some of that information in our Telegram group. If you haven't joined, make sure you guys join, and hopefully you can get some value there. All right, cool. So since the market is down, we're gonna dollar cost average here. So let me just jump into my portfolio. I don't actually know if I'm logged in or not here. Okay, so as you can see, our portfolio did drop a little bit in value, but we're not too worried. We're not too worried because we know it's going to increase. So we're going to go ahead and diversify a little bit more here. I am going to be putting in a little more money as we do every week. All right, so I just open up the calculator. Where is the calculator here? That is the question. All right, so coin market cap converter. That's what we want. And cryptocurrency converter. Perfect. So first thing we're going to do is put in $50 in Bitcoin. So let's do that here. Let's go ahead and click on add. We'll choose add. We're going to grab this value here. I'm going to put it in the portfolio. So $50 into Bitcoin. That makes up 50% of our holdings. And then we're going to diversify and split the other $50 across these other currencies. All right, so let's go ahead and grab Solana, which is one of my new favorite projects, considering we bought that at $75 and it's now just under 200. It actually pumped to 200 over the last few days. It's crazy. It's crazy. So we're going to put in $10 in Solana, which gives us 0.05 Sol. And of course, this is just dollar cost averaging. So make sure that you guys consider doing something similar. Again, if you want a bot that can do this for you automatically, you're free to check out Pionex. It'll be linked in the description below. They've got a really sweet DCA bot, which is this one right here, DCA bot, and this actually dollar cost averages for you. So all you got to do is just put in whatever amount you plan on investing for the month, and then set a schedule for it to buy whatever projects you want on a regular basis, and it'll do so automatically and build up your portfolio that way. So that's a really cool and convenient way to do that. All right, so we are looking for Cosmos next. Cosmos. We actually don't have any Elrond in the portfolio. I have to admit, one of my good friends, actually, who was living here in Dubai, his cousin founded Elrond. It's crazy. His cousin founded this e-gold project, Elrond project. And so he told me about it when it was around $20. And unfortunately, I didn't listen because I'm kind of stubborn and I don't always like to take leaps of faith based on what other people are saying. But yeah, so I kind of missed out on that giant pump there. But I hope you guys don't make that same mistake. So we're looking for ETH next. That's going to be ETH. We're going to put in the value there, which is 0.003. And okay, pretty cool. So we've got two more projects, which is Cardano and Binance Coin. We're going to do that now. So let's go to Cardano and find it in here. So ADA, Cardano, and that's going to give us 4.2 for $10. We get 4.28, which is nice. And of course, BNB being the last one, which is right now hovering right around that $400 mark, which is not too bad. So let's go ahead and choose Binance Coin, and let's put that in here, BNB, 0.02 BNB, and click add transaction. So there you go, you guys. Dollar cost average is done for the week. We'll hopefully be doing this the same time next week, or whenever the markets do drop again. That'll be the time that we invest our next $100. So again, always try to do this on a regular basis, and you will most likely outperform any potential timing opportunities, right? So don't try to time the market, just keep it consistent and keep it regular. All right, cool. So that's that portfolio there. Hopefully, guys, hopefully we'll see a much better value soon. We were at 320, but then the market did dump a little bit, but we'll hopefully see that happening again soon. So in my other portfolio here, here's how we're doing. We are currently at, let's just quickly copy this over. And right now we are right around $110 per day on the mining. So for those of you who don't know, I do run a small Bitcoin mine and a small ETH mine, and that brings our snapshot value here. I should probably change this to $110 at present value, just based on the market conditions right now. So $110 per day earned on ETH and Bitcoin. That's probably where most of my funds come from. So that's just to give you guys a quick update there. All right, so hopefully you guys found some value there. I'm just going to jump into the chat and say hi to you guys. We got Majid here. Welcome, Majid. Appreciate you hanging out today. Before I go, guys, I am going to tell you about our very cool, very awesome opportunity. If you're somebody who wants to learn how to build your own business online, selling information products like courses, feel free to check out our workshop linked in the chat below. We'll teach you how to go from 0 to sales in less than 60 days. And it's totally for free, so you don't have to pay anything. Link in the description below. That said, I do want to say thank you guys for hanging out today. Appreciate you. Again, sorry that I'm not here every single day. It's just crazy with family and other responsibilities, but I'm going to try and be as consistent as possible. These are all my social media handles. Feel free to check them out. If you guys have any comments, let me know down below. What are your thoughts? Why is this whole dump happening? Let me know in the comment section below. We also have an awesome Telegram group. Feel free to join. Link in the description below. Till next time, I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Take care.